Do you have any ideas on how to fix the TV ratings?
I do. Are you ready for this? Because let's just say if NASCAR could do this, we don't need credit, but just hear me out. I have a fix.
Are you about to? You got out a pen and it looks like you're about to draw a diagram.
I don't know why. Like people can watch what I'm writing here. I do. I have a fix, and this is something I've been thinking about for years. And I actually brought it up to NASCAR probably a year and a half ago.
Oh, really?
But I do. I think during the summer months we should be kicking ass in the ratings. We should be we're just competing against baseball for the most part, maybe some big PGA events when they come up. I got a fix. 5 week fix where we are going to have more storylines than ever. The drivers are going to get amped up. This is it. This is going to be a game changer, and the investment NASCAR will need to put in this to make it happen. They will get a tenfold return on that investment. You ready?
Okay. Yep. Go for it.
We're going to have a bracket challenge. We're going to wait till 10 weeks into the year. So let's just say right now, this is week 10, Talladega. You have 10 weeks to get yourself in the top 32 in points. Okay, so leading into that, you could have the storyline of, let's say just a few weeks before this, start week 8, week 7. Now TV's talking about who's going to get in the top 32 to get in this bracket challenge, right? So then that's a storyline. Then for the next 5 weeks, and maybe you do it every other week, but I think you need to do it every week. 5 weeks in a row where you have a head-to-head competition, and you're seeded based off of where you are in points at week 10. So the number 1 seed is whoever's first in points. They will be going up against the 32nd place guy in points this week. So on, so forth. Second will play
31.
Will go against 31. Third will go against 30. And so you have these 16 matchups for this week coming up at Dover. And certainly what that also does is creates, now you have some betting lines. You'll probably have Vegas make odds on who the tournament winner will be. They'll probably have odds on the matchups this week. So there'll be 16 key matchups that will go on this week in Dover. Whoever wins between the two moves on to the next week. And that moves you on to the round of 16. Then you're going to have head-to-heads. Once again, 16 down to 8, down to 4, down to 2. I can tell you, as the drivers are concerned, we would be wildly competitive for this. The reason is there's a big prize at the end. But not only that, but our egos. You want, this is a in-season tournament. We have them in basketball. We have them in, even I think NFL or football is talking about doing something like this or having some sort of bracket challenge, right? I really think that this would create so many storylines, and you would have no idea how much the teams would change their strategies in the middle of the race to beat whoever they're up against that given week to move on to the next round. So many opportunities for storylines here. So this bracket challenge would take 5 weeks to whittle it down from 32 down to the final pairing. And what I think is that you could do it many ways, but I think that there should be a monetary win of $3 million for the winner. And I know that seems like a lot, but the return on investment, trust me, would be tenfold for NASCAR from the publicity they would get. How much, content that would be created on two drivers head-to-head this week. Who's going to win?
Right. Just whoever finishes better.
Even Fox or NBC could have a ticker on the right side. Just put it on the far right or something of, okay, the 5 car is going against the 7 car this week. Here's where, the 5 and the 7. Here's where they're running right underneath. So you always can see where these head-to-head matchups are during the race. And you can see, we got a head-to-head matchup, and they're running 7th and 8th. I guarantee you those drivers are going to move each other out of the way to to move on to the next round because they know they're racing against one car that week. Now, you're still collecting points just like you normally would be for the regular season and all that, but this just creates a in-season prize or tournament that really ramps up storylines, I think, in the middle of the year. Maybe you do this when NBC starts to take over, right? Because I think that they don't have as many big events as what Fox does. I don't know when you put it into the year, right? I don't know what the right story is. You don't want to mess up the race to the playoffs. I think once you get in within 5 races of the playoffs, that needs to be the storyline of who gets in. But this could be a really good thing in the middle of the year that really could create a lot of fan interest. I know on radio would be talking about it. TV would be talking about it. We had an upset this week.
Yeah.
Michael McDowell upsets Denny Hamlin, maybe because it was at a road course, right? And hey, I'm the underdog this week because, results show that he's a better, but I can get past this week, then man, I've got a better road to the finals. Trust me, Vegas could create lines for this. I'm really adamant about this. This could be a game changer for us that would come with very small investment. But I just think that, and maybe the winner gets 5 playoff points, towards the playoffs. I don't know. I think you certainly have to add a monetary element to this, and it needs to be significant. It can't just be, $100,000. But I love this idea. I really think that NASCAR should explore it or think about it. I think it's fantastic. Maybe it's because I came up with
idea.
it. But would love to see us, do something like that.
Yeah, I think just a major monetary prize at the end would be enough. And I say that because I think since they started with stage racing, which I think overall has been good for the sport, fans are very wary of gimmicks, right? These additional gimmicks, racing on dirt, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't seen any backlash against the Dash for Cash in the Xfinity Series. It seems like everyone is on board with that. It's this great little additional nugget that these 4 drivers get to race for. Whoever finishes the best at X race wins $100,000. Mm-hmm. It's great. So that's why I do think that this idea has some legs. And if it has just a monetary prize at the end of the table or at the end of the bracket, that these smaller teams who have just as much of a chance of winning this as any other team.
Absolutely.
Because anything can happen in these
anything
races,
can happen.
Road
right?
course, super speedway, the Corey LaJoys of the world can win this. And a $3 million prize is big money for a team.
If Denny Hamlin was against J.J. Yeley this weekend, I would have lost. I'm out of the tournament.
Yep.
JJ's moving on. I'm not. So there's big chance for upsets here. And it's only 5 weeks, and just anything can happen, especially when it's just you versus another driver. And I think the teams would call races differently to beat whoever you're matched up against that week.
Yeah.
So
that's what I want a little more opinion on is that when they introduced stage racing, right? Stage racing changed the way teams would race at the end of these stages. Do we want to, or at least at road courses or something, do we want to stay out and collect this one additional playoff point, or do we want to set ourselves up to win the race? Do you think this would enhance that racing, right?
The more storylines you have,
but
it's
the
all
strategy in the race.
Absolutely.
That a driver's
absolutely.
what would be more important, advancing in this bracket or winning the race if it came down to one of the two? Or do you think they go hand in hand, hypothetically?
I think sometimes you're going to play to your competition. It's like match play in golf, right? I mean, it's when your competition duck hooks it out of bounds to the left, what are you going to do? You're going to grab an iron, hit it straight down the fairway, and make sure you make par. You don't have to go for birdie. So while it does go hand in hand, you are racing for multiple things. You're going to race for a great finish, try to win the race, get yourself 5 bonus points for the playoffs, get regular season points, all that. There could be a point, though, in the race where it puts you as a team and a driver to a decision, do I go for this or I go for that?
Right.
And I think
that's what I'm wondering. Which one do you think has more importance? If it's set up the way, in a perfect world, it's set up the way you want it to be set up.
My pride would want me to win the bracket, the tournament. That's what I would want to win, for sure.
So that's kind of what I don't think you want the bracket.
I would be willing to give up I don't know. Let's just say hypothetically, I'm willing to give up 10 spots in the race because of my strategy call just to beat who I was up against head to head. Yes. Moving on.
So do you think that potentially overshadowing the regular season points and guys trying to accumulate playoff points down the road overshadows the grand prize at the end of the season, which is a championship?
Well, then you just gave me the perfect reason why we should do it. You're saying it has a chance to overshadow what we're doing week in, week out.
Do you want that?
Yes. There's multiple storylines. You still got the race winner and all that, but now TV is talking about, going to updating you throughout the race of where these head-to-head matchups stand. Where's this guy running? Where's this guy running? Ooh, this one's going to be close at the end. And as a driver, you know who you're matched up against, and you are going to race that guy a little bit harder. So if it overshadows whatever went on that week, that's a good thing. That means we're talking about something that's new and fresh, and it's not gimmicky. You're not changing formats of the race. You're not changing a great concrete Bristol into dirt. This isn't a novelty. This is just an enhancement to the racing that you've already got.
Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate on this. I'm trying to liken it to the Dash for Cash. Like maybe what we saw.
We used to have it with the No Bull 5 back in the day. You used to pay $1 million to a bunch of races throughout the year. So this is just a kind of a formula of that. But I just think our world, the No Bull 5 was different because, hey, if you finish in the top 5 this race, you're now eligible for the next race. And then if you win the race, you win $1 million. That's one thing. When you have head-to-head, that's where competition really will start to rear its head.
Yeah.
Rivalries, things like that.
I think the most interesting.
Imagine me and Ross head-to-head for the championship for the tournament.
It might not be good for you. You might win that $3 million, but then lose 25 points the next week.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or 60 or 50 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that if that's the $3 million is your magic number, your prize pool.
It's got to be
you could see
significant.
if it works out right, you could see then the All-Star race increasing, I feel like.
Yeah. Again, I've always said, and I don't want to understate what $1 million is, but $1 million in 1990 when they started this is a lot different than $1 million right now in 2023. So I think the All-Star race this year will be special just because it's a new venue, SMI's, investing in it and bringing back an old track, which is awesome. I think the racetrack itself is great. So, but yeah, this is my fix for mid-season.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading the comments on this one.
All right, good. We'll take the goods and the bad. Hey, if you have some suggestions on how we could tweak it,
yeah, and we'll add it into the show next weekend.
Yep. I'm sure this will be part of our highlight reel on Dirty Mo Media. So
100%.
Put some comments down below on how you would tweak this or whether you think it's a good idea or not.